Welcome back to Black Mesa. I'm Blasphemous, and, well, before we get started, there are a few things you can do during the test chamber that I didn't quite do the first time. For instance, there are actually 2 achievements for interacting with the beam in 2 different ways. First off,
go ahead, Gordon. Slot the carrier into the analysis port.
Into the beam, got it. Yeah, there's an achievement for killing yourself. 2 achievements, actually. This next one involves not using the beam at all.
Insertion. One non-standard specimen.
And in fact, I have no idea how you would figure this one out on your own.
Slot the carrier into the analysis.
Because, you see, it takes a very, very, very long time in order for it to actually work.
What is he doing in there? It's nothing you need to worry about.
Go ahead, Gordon.
Man, I don't know why I'm so fascinated with this stool. And actually, if you go up here, there's a button on the control panel which we unfortunately can't see because everything's shaking, but it's the emergency shutdown, and it says basically that it needs to be fixed. That's a problem.
He waited too long! We can't contain it!
So, getting back to our regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, things really went south in a hurry, didn't they? So, there are a few things to note concerning the HEV suit. The Mark IV has an attached flashlight that used to have limited power in the original, but now it's an infinite flashlight. In addition, the suit also gives us the ability to sprint, and it gives us this handy readout of our health and our suit's power, which effectively acts as armor. All very good stuff.
Listen, I tried to warn them.
I never thought I'd see a resonance cascade, let alone create one. By Schrodinger's cat, he's alive.
Gordon! Thank God for that hazard suit. All the phones are out. I can't reach anyone in the facility. We need to get to the surface and let someone know that we're stranded down here. There's no telling what kind of danger is... My God. What have we done?
Fascinating.
Can't afford to waste time. Leave me for the retro scanner. I'm certain the rest of the science team will help you along the way. And for God's sake, keep that suit on until you're in the clear. You hear me?
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
What an interesting anterior. I wonder where its stomach is.
Yeah, unfortunately we can't bring those 2 along with us, but I'm sure they'll make it somehow. This guy, though, I don't think he's gonna pull through.
Attention. Security personnel to Sector C immediately.
what do we have here? It looks to be some kind of humanoid. And I think that was on top of its head. Yeah. What we might be seeing here is some kind of zombie. A zombie with a crab on its head. You might call it a headcrab zombie.
Control team.
I really hate that. Black Mesa actually adds a little bit of additional cruelty to it. Like, you know, scientists and security guards were getting killed left and right in the original, but...
Get me out of this elevator! Anyone, can you hear me? Come help us get to the elevator! Shit!
Yeah, in the original there, like, you just pressed a button and the elevator just suddenly dropped. Like, you didn't actually hear the people, like, screaming for help. And honestly, that really bothers me. Like, it sort of feels like the amount of horror present.
Gordon? Gordon! Man, am I glad to see you. What the hell are these things, man? And why are they wearing science team uniforms?
Yeah, the levity doesn't really match the drama, if you know what I mean. Like,
Lead the way, sir.
they tried to make this a little bit darker, a little bit, like, moodier, a little more intense. And in a sense, it sort of sucked a little bit out of the,
One down and... hell if I know.
well, just the basic, like, you didn't really have to think about it too hard. Now this section. Normally, at this point in the game, you'd already have a weapon, but for some reason, I don't know why, they decided to make this sort of a reverse escort section, where you have to depend on these convenient flares and a security guard in order to help you defeat the monsters that are coming at you.
This place is in bad shape.
It's, you know, it works and it doesn't work. Like, I kind of feel like this whole thing is a little bit awkward. Especially since, as far as I can tell, we won't be seeing these flares anytime after this section of the game.
How do you like that? You like that? Huh?
There's always been a sort of artificiality in terms of Half-Life's design, but all these flares just suddenly popping into being definitely feels very gamey, if you know what I mean.
This shit is something out of a sci-fi movie.
Fella, you wanna...
Like that?
Yeah, the other complication is that the security officer here has sort of his own idea of how he wants to do things. Hey, there's a headcrab setting on this microwave.
Good God.
I think it might have been a little bit too well done. Probably should have poked some holes in it first.
Okay, Doc. Grab what you gotta grab, but don't dawdle. Okay, Doc. Grab what you gotta grab, but don't dawdle.
I think I heard you the first time. So, you remember that guy who we gave toilet paper to? He didn't make it.
I think we have guests. Bullseye!
Now then, these wall-mounted units, you have a first aid unit that provides health, and then you have an HEV power unit that, you know, provides armor. Fairly explanatory. This game doesn't really make things too complicated, and in fact it tries to make things as transparent as possible.
You asked for it! You feeling lucky? Ha! Got another one.
So you might be wondering, what is our objective here? I mean, the scientist friend there, he said to get to the surface, but that's not really a way to combat this alien menace now, is it? And that's kind of the point. You're not trying to save the world. You're just trying to survive. It was a bit of an innovation in storytelling. Like, instead of being like this roided up Marine who was going to just stop the alien invasion single-handedly, well, all you were really concerned about was getting out in one piece.
The admin office upstairs. There's got to be somebody there who can fix this. Come in, anybody. This is Sector C, Anomalous Materials. We have an emergency...
There is another achievement in this chapter that is a little bit hard to see, and in fact is going to be carried throughout the entire game. And it can be found on this very pipe. It's a purple top hat. Yes, this purple top hat is going to have to be carried all the way from the start of the game to the final boss. And that only gets us an achievement, but also a special ending.
I repeat, we have a code red emergency situation.
But that's going to be a separate playthrough because, as you might imagine, trying to get through the entire game while having your hands full is a bit of a pain in the neck. Now then, this is our first weapon. It's a crowbar. Yeah, you kind of hit things with it. Now, the crowbar is actually a lot faster in this game in terms of both attack speed and power. Like, in the original game, the crowbar could really, take forever to actually kill anything. Oh wait, watch this.
I've had enough! Die! Yes! Yes!
That was in the original game too, albeit with a little less drama. This too. As a matter of fact, I think the janky graphics of the original game actually did that particular scare a little bit more favors because, yeah, imagine that sort of thing, but with a very low poly mesh, and yeah, that could look really freaky. Here's where we would normally get our first handgun, or our first gun in general. But, well, just count the minutes until we actually get a gun. It's a little bit eye-opening. I do apologize about all the alarms. It's not really something I can turn off. You'd think there would be an achievement for that, break all the alarms by throwing things at them or something. But no, that's not in the game. Maybe someone should suggest that to the devs. They're pretty amenable to the whole idea of people suggesting things to them. Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of that. You might notice that I'm breaking up cardboard boxes every time I find them. It's because cardboard hides secrets. Actually, are these things cardboard, or are they actually like wooden crates? I mean, they kind of just break like they're cardboard. Like, have you ever actually tried to smash a crate? Like, I've interacted with crates. Those things are hardy suckers. Yeah, that's also in the original game. As are these. They're called barnacles, and I think you can see how they work. Yeah, they're basically environmental traps. But you can defuse them, at least for a little while. What's this thing now? Meet the Hound Eye. So called because it's a hound with a bunch of eyes. And if you're too close, that sonic boom will actually damage you. So, you know, don't be close. Oh, by the way, we missed another sighting of the G-Man there. Did you see him? Let's look at that again. Yeah, you're really gotta be on the ball with this sort of thing. Anyway, we saw a door in there, a temperature-controlled door. So we're gonna have to find some way to raise the temperature there. I don't know precisely why this has become the case, but yeah, it's sort of become a series tradition now that the crowbar is the natural enemy of headcrabs. Used to be that it actually required like 2 or 3 hits in order for a crowbar hit to take a headcrab down. But now it's sort of like, you know, if you hit a crowbar with a headcrab, or the other way around I should say, then the headcrab will die. That may or may not become relevant in later titles.
Oh, thank God. Listen, I know where you can find some more weaponry. There's a security office not far from here. Take me with you, and I'll unlock the door.
Excelsior!
Vamonos. Yes, you can have scientists following you. They can't fight. Like, they really can't. So, in terms of these sorts of situations, it's basically all up to you.
Fantastic.
It's okay. They don't get in your way that much.
Oh, safe haven. Oh, well, at any rate, over there's the weapons I spoke of.
Handgun, hand grenade.
Excitement today.
As you can see, this game sort of
Welcome to stay if you want.
introduced a different sort of inventory sorting system where instead of having weapons just automatically switched with the number keys, it actually brings down a drop-down menu and sorts weapons into different categories. So right now we have ourselves a handgun and an explosive weapon in slots 2 and 5 respectively. Naturally, we'll be getting things to fit out the rest of the numbers in due time. Now, I might have mentioned this in the thread, but Black Mesa definitely borrows a book from later Half-Life titles by using lighting in order to show where you have to go next. It's a bit of a design trick that really makes the whole game a lot easier to navigate. What I'm doing there is that there's a difference between the headcrabs that fall off of zombies and just the headcrabs on their own, in that the zombie headcrabs sort of become props. But that's not important now. It's time to show you another little interaction. Yep. If you can happen to lure enemies into barnacles, then they can become chow instead of you. Very handy. Oh, hello. This here is what we call a vortigaunt, capable of shooting beams of electricity at you, or at close range doing a powerful shockwave. The shockwave is new for Black Mesa, but the electric beams have always been there. The shockwave has actually been taken from later games in the series.
Is it safe? Ah! Oh dear. I do believe I soiled myself. Run along, Freeman. I've some sordid business to attend to.
Yeah, sure. You know, when faced with imminent death, definitely need to worry about a potty emergency. Now, I'm guessing that this was supposed to be another obstacle course, but here's the problem. They made the barnacles a little too close to the ground. So, instead of having to distract them, you can just beat them to death. Oh yes, and when zombies launch projectiles at you, they can indeed do damage. Now here's what I was talking about before. You see? Headcrabs off of zombies can be thrown around like any regular prop, but headcrabs themselves, when they ragdoll, you can't interact with them at all, and... oh dear. When you think of things that you could actually pick up and carry, like... seriously, just lean the ladder against a wall or something. I'm sure we can make it the rest of the way. No, more drastic measures are going to have to be taken. But first, I think I saw a medkit through a fence over here. It's not that we particularly need it, but every 2 bits of health really helps. It's 2 bits of health that we don't have otherwise, so why not? This game doesn't feature a whole lot of backtracking. Whatever we see, we're going to leave it behind us. After all, this is supposed to be one long, continuous journey, broken up only by loading screens. You've seen them now and then, haven't you? With modern computers, loading can be done in just a few seconds to create what is supposed to be a seamless experience. Now then. Obviously we're supposed to use this elevator, but there's no power. How do we get inside the security office? Oh. There's that old notice this lighting scheme. Now this game features a whole lot of vent crawling. You're gonna have to get used to this. One criticism of Black Mesa compared to the original is that they really dropped the vent crawling speed down to the point where, like in the original, you could basically just fly through the vents. Your speed wasn't actually cut down that hard when you were crawling, so it ended up being a relatively painless experience. And there's the power. Useless and useless. Oh well, I'm sure it would be handy if we were doing worse. I don't know what difficulty I got this set on. I think it's just normal. I'm going to have to check that afterwards, though, because I am taking a remarkably small amount of damage. Though, that could change. Yeah, this is one of the more memorable set pieces from the original Half-Life 1. Well, no, that's not right. There are a lot of memorable set pieces. And if we jump over here, we even can have a little Easter egg. I swear, I am good at this game. Somewhat.
Access denied. Access is denied.
Well, while my alternative self is busy up there, let's get back to business. You may be noticing a whole lot of sort of warehouse kind of areas in this part of the game, but that's because we're sort of in the underbelly of Black Mesa, sort of seeing where all the magic happens behind the scenes. After all, you can have all these flashy experiments, but what are you going to do, like, if a part breaks, or if you need extra materials? That's where these mail rooms come in handy, these package receiving areas, with boxes that have 2 ammo clips in them. Although, there is a problem.
Illegal access.
Entry forbidden.
So how are we going to get over this gap? Well, just follow the lights. I'm not going to harp on this in the future, but I just want to point this out for like every single other encounter. If you ever are confused about where to go in Black Mesa, just see where things are unusually lit or where things are lit up compared to everything around it. It's definitely a good idea for just survival in general around here.
Power level is 100.
Wow, we seem to be just introduced to all sorts of monsters down here. This here is what we call a bull squid. Not really what you call an indicative name, but you know what? If you ever get trapped in a room with one, then you kind of figure out why it's called a bull. We'll figure out what I'm talking about much later. So, this little gap here. You might think we would need to, I don't know, get a bunch of boxes and use those as stepping stools or something. But the answer is actually a lot simpler. Have you seen it already? Yep. We just take a little bit of a swim over here to the side, and there's a way up to the other end. Really don't need to look for the unusual solution when the more obvious one works just as well. You see these barrels and boxes? These ones with the special markings? Yeah, that's for a very good reason. I want you to pay attention to this. Yeah, that's right. Explosive barrels in my FPS game. It's a lot more likely than you think. And, well, this is unusual. Welcome to what fans call the box smashing room. Seemingly just a place where boxes are elevated over a huge drop. Intended, of course, to be a platforming segment. More precisely, to teach us how to use our sprint function. Precisely in order to teach us how to use our sprint function in order to get over very large gaps. Assuming we don't muck it up, of course. Fortunately, the game auto-saves us in the middle of it, so there's really no harm done. The game is very liberal with auto-saves, so at any given time, you're only losing at most a minute of progress, so I very much like this game in terms of how it keeps you from just having to stop and consider whether or not you want to save. The purpose is the continuous adventure. Oh yeah, weapons. I have secondary fires. The pistol is a very inaccurate auto-fire thing. It's got its uses, but for the most part, the pistol is designed for precision. As is usually the case with video game handguns. And that's it. I hope I'll see you guys again, since after we break these boxes, we are done with the chapter known as... Let's see. I believe it's called Unforeseen Consequences. But I'll have to look that up.
Entry is not an option. Will we do this all day? Move on immediately.